The White House and Congress are rushing to come up with a stimulus package to ease the economic blow from the coronavirus outbreak. But President Trump's proposed payroll tax cuts to help limit the financial fallout, it's facing bipartisan pushback. So Paula Reid is joining us now from the White House to talk more about this proposed package. President Trump's proposals include assistance for those who don't have sick leave, a possible tax relief for industries that are hit the hardest by this outbreak, and then this temporary payroll tax cut. What is the president's timeline for these proposals? Because, I mean, there are people that are now quarantining for 14 days and will not be able to go to work.
Exactly. Time is of the essence. So we know White House officials are working with Democrats to try to find some common ground. But with Congress scheduled to be out next week, there's skepticism about whether any of this relief can actually come quickly. But the White House's ideal timeline is that they would be able to come to an agreement sometime in the next few weeks. And they believe specifically with a payroll tax cut, that would provide a boost in about 2.5 months when the outbreak, again, their words, not mine, sort of subsides or dies down or gets more under control. Now, their hope is that would then provide an economic boost in the second, third, and fourth quarter that would potentially carry the president through re-election. Of course, a strong economy is central to his re-election campaign. And while they are focused on getting relief to those who have been impacted by the outbreak, they are also ever mindful of how the coronavirus could potentially overshadow all of the president's economic accomplishments.
So, you know, some sort of stimulus package kind of seems like a no-brainer considering what we're going through. What are the reservations that lawmakers have?
It's interesting. There's been bipartisan pushback on the idea of a payroll tax cut because that provides so much revenue. That tax provides so much revenue for a lot of social safety programs. And so far, the White House has been unable to explain how they would make up for that revenue. There's also questions about whether a payroll tax cut, which would give a lot of workers about a 6% raise for a period of time, whether that works in a situation like this. Is that the proper stimulus? Because we're currently in a situation where a lot of people are staying home, they're watching Netflix, they're not out spending extra money. We also have a lot of hourly wage earners who are missing shifts, so they may not feel that relief. So even some of the president's closest allies, including Senator Lindsey Graham, have expressed skepticism about the payroll tax cut, though others appear open to other ways of helping individuals and potentially some of the industries that have been impacted.
All right, so protecting the economy from the coronavirus is one thing, but you know, the president is also sort of in charge of and responsible, along with the vice president, everyone, of protecting the rest of the population too. So the coronavirus task force briefed reporters yesterday at the White House, and the vice president answered a question that you asked him about President Trump holding these campaign rallies where he's shaking hands, he's talking to, you know, many people. I want to play Mike Pence's answer.
That'll be a decision that's made literally on a day-to-day basis. I thought Dr. Fauci spoke to that yesterday very well. That we're going to. I'm very confident that the campaign will take the very best information and make the very best decision going forward. But these proposals are things that every American can do all across the country that will reduce the risk of either contracting or being exposed to the coronavirus.
So we saw yesterday that both Bernie Sanders and former Vice President Joe Biden canceled events because of the coronavirus. What about President Trump? Any planned cancellations at all?
Well, Anne Marie, what the vice president was gesturing towards there was this big poster that they brought out for the press conference with tips on how to keep yourself healthy. Among the tips were don't shake hands, wash your hands, avoid crowds, large gatherings. And my question to him is, how do you have this poster telling people to avoid large gatherings when you continue to hold campaign events? And we know that shortly after that briefing, the Trump campaign announced a Catholics for Trump coalition event in Wisconsin next Thursday in a venue that seats thousands. So it appears that their message on large gatherings is do as we say, not as we do. And when it comes to handshaking, the vice president was asked about the president shaking hands. And not only did the vice president defend the president's practice, saying, look, that's something we have to do in our line of work. He said that he, too, has been shaking hands and will continue to do so. Again, mixed messages. You're standing next to a sign that's telling people to do one thing while you're saying, but I'm going to do another.
Well, I hope they have a whole lot of hand sanitizer. That's all I got to say. Paula, thank you so much.